Kyle here hanging out. Thank you so much, Marty, for letting me teach a few lessons on your channel. Today we are going to talk about effective practice, the most effective ways to practice your guitar. I've been playing guitar for just over 20 years, and these are things that work for me, so really it's finding the things that work for you. First off, I think finding a good place for you to practice is the number one thing. Always finding a place that's comfortable, where you can sit up straight, that's kind of already set up. I always find that I procrastinate practicing if I have to like take out everything and plug in my guitar. And so if there's a spot in my house that's set up, ready to go, that I can just sit down and pick up my guitar and practice, I will practice much more. I generally have 3 things that I like to focus on every day that I sit down to practice. I like to do warm-ups. 2, I always like to work on chords, whether that's learning new chords, working on the chords that you already know. And then 3, I like to learn a new song, whether that's learning your favorite AC/DC song or learning your favorite guitar solo, always challenging your mind to learn something new. You will never know what you pick up from learning a new song. I have a bunch of different warm-ups that I do, but today I'd like to show you a few of them that you can play as slow or as fast as you like, and I use them every night to warm up before I go out on stage. I love using a metronome. Using a metronome is the thing that I have noticed help with my consistency, being able to play on time. And you don't even really notice how valuable a metronome is until you practice with one all the time. You can find so many apps on your phone that are great metronomes. You can pick up a cheap metronome from the guitar store. Let's see, let's pick a nice even tempo, 100, just for our sake today. The first warm-up I'm going to show you is somewhat of a chromatic warm-up, and all you're going to do is you're going to play every fret on every single string, and you're gonna play one note for every beat of the metronome, so it sounds a little bit like this. Okay, so you see, when I got to the end of the guitar, I just slid up a fret, and then I came right back down my little chromatic line. And you basically weave your way up and down the guitar, going up all the frets. And then once you get as high as you want to stop, which can be the 12th fret, or you can go all the way up here as high as your frets go, then you can work your way down. The great thing about this warm-up is it works every single finger, it works every string, and you can go as fast or as slow as you want. The other thing I like doing with this warm-up is I like changing the fingering. So I was doing 1, 2, 3, 4. You can do 1, 3, 2, 4. So if we played that with the metronome, it would sound like this. And then sliding up, you'd keep the same pattern, but sliding up, you would go 4, 2, 3, 1. And so much and so forth. So this warm-up is great because you can pick whatever pattern you want. You can go as fast or as slow as you want, and you can go all the way up and down the neck. Now, the other one I really, really love doing is, I call it like a spider web. You basically play your first fret on your E string, your second fret on your A string, your third fret on your D string, and your fourth fret on your G string. And then you come back down and you play your first fret on your G string, your second fret on your D string, your third fret on your A string, and your fourth fret on your E string. And then you work your way up the neck. So it sounds a little bit like this. again, you work all the way up the neck, and then when you get to as high as you want, then you can go down a string, and you can start on your A string instead of your E string. And then when you get down to the neck, then you can go up a string so you cover the whole guitar. Of course, you can practice this with a metronome as well, and you can go as slow or as fast as you want, but I find it really helps me stretch out my hands in terms of just warming up. I generally try to do warm-ups for about 10 minutes. I try to change them up every day so I don't get bored about doing the same things. One other warm-up that I'll quickly show you, and you can do it as fast or as slow as you want, it's working on warming up your picking hand. Let's say we'll play our minor pentatonic, so. And you can play one note for every metronome beat, and then you'll play 2 notes for every metronome beat, you'll play 3 notes, 4 notes, and so on. When we start, it's gonna be really, really slow. Okay, so you play 1 note for every beat of the metronome. Then you play that same scale and play every note twice for every beat of the metronome. So it sounds a little bit like this. And then you play 3 notes, and it sounds a little bit like this. And then you can go up to 4. You can go up to 4, you can go up to 5, you can go up to 6, and this exercise really, really helps getting your picking hand moving and warmed up. So I generally try to do warm-ups for about 10 minutes. Then I move on to chords. I always think it's really good to just take a little bit of your everyday practice to work on chords. If you are just learning chords and you know 5 chords, then I'd say practice transitioning between those chords. If you know your C, your G, your D, practice playing that chord, taking your hands off the neck and playing another chord, and taking your hands off the neck and playing another chord, and just trying to get those transitions so that you don't even need to look and you know where those chords are. If you know your 5, 6, 10 chords down and you want to grow on that, I'd say learning how to play different inversions of different chords is something I still try to work on. I always try to improve the inversions of chords I'm playing, how to play a C here, how to play a C here, how to play a C here. And then the third thing I will say is learning a new song. I always think it's good to challenge your brain regardless of how long you've been playing. You never know what you're gonna pick up from a brand new song. I try to practice guitar 5 days a week. Sometimes you're busy, some days you have a lot going on. Practicing is about being regular about it and being consistent about it. Somebody always asks me, what's the difference between practicing and jamming? I think that you can get a lot out of jamming, actually. I find cool licks that I would never play sometimes when I'm jamming. Sometimes I feel like jamming is a different part of your brain that you're not really necessarily thinking, okay, I'm within this scale or I'm playing this chord. And so I actually like doing a combination of the two. I like, 20 to 30 minutes of concentrated practice, whether that's warm-ups or scales or learning a new song. And then if you can throw in a few minutes of jamming at the end of a practice, I always think that's a good thing to do. Jamming is fun. It's where, you kind of find those happy accidents that you wouldn't always in a focused practice session. The other great thing about jamming is it lets you apply everything that you have learned in your practice. If practice was math, then jamming would be physics. It helps you take all of the things, all of the scales, all of the chords, and let you put it into normal life and apply it into actually, if you were playing a song, this is what you would do with it. So I think jamming is very important and crucial, actually, something that you should do every day. Guys, my name is Lindsay L. Thank you so much for hanging out with me today, learning about the most effective practice tips. Make sure to subscribe and follow Marty Music, as well as check out my channel. All the links are below. We'll see you guys next time.